Hey, good day, friends. It's Lance Klessig, and we're out here outside of St. Charles with Bob Christie, DJ Mueller, and want to talk a little bit about our cover crop tour. And this is one of the locations. But before we do that, can you guys tell us a little bit about some of the crops you grow, cattle, that type of thing?
Yeah, we have soybeans and corn. We do seed oats sometimes when I put it ahead of alfalfa. I also raise alfalfa hay. And right now I'm custom raising some beef heifers for a guy. We had always done steers in the past, but that's kind of what our rotation is here.
Great. Maybe DJ, can you tell us a little bit about how long you guys have been no-tilling and playing around with cover crops?
We've been doing it for what, 4 years now?
Yeah,
with the no-till and the cover crops. The cover crops probably a little longer, and then we got into the no-till. Yeah, and what was the other question?
That was it. Just basically how many years you've been doing it. So kind of walk us through like the history of this field. We're in a field that was just planted, but walk us through from even like last fall what the crop was, those details.
Okay. Last fall this was soybeans. Taken out right at the very end of September, this particular field was. And then we seeded right behind it with rye and vetch and some Austrian winter peas is what we put in this field. We just kind of wanted to see if the peas and vetch would take, which they did, despite the open winter. So, and then we went this spring. Now we put corn in here. I had fall applied some potash and a little elemental sulfur. And this spring when we planted, we put down 200 pounds of starter, a 10, 12, 30, and 6 starter. And then we put down some urea, 300 pounds of urea with a new stabilizer product that's supposed to stabilize the nitrogen longer, and a little ammonium sulfate on this piece here. So
great. And remind me, it was planted about a week ago. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
About a week ago we planted this piece. So.
And so it was planted green, so that's why you can see the live cover crop, in the field that we're in. What kind of? You guys have a John Deere planter, but what model is it? 1700 series?
It's a 1785 no-till planter. It's 611, so it does have the inner plants for our beans, so we can do 15-inch rows.
Okay, great. So I guess one other, so again, we are at one of the tour locations right along the road here. There's a sign that says Bob's name on it, some of his objectives, and his phone number. So you can come out here and dig, look at the cover crop, look at the crop when it comes out of the ground. I guess just kind of to wrap up, what are one or two of the main benefits that you guys see in using cover crops on your farm?
I would say, I guess for me, well, there's a lot of things. The biggest thing, when we're planting, we're doing everything all in one pass. We're doing the tillage, the soil finishing, so fuel consumption, we're using about 3/4 of a gallon per acre.
Awesome.
The tractor runs about 1,300 RPMs. We're planting about 4.2 miles an hour, and so the wear and tear on the tractor is very low. No dust. No erosion. So there's so many benefits in it. I don't know. For me, every time I plant into something green, it is the coolest feeling. And especially this year, we saw a lot of people were complaining about dry weather, planting dry. We planted, and we're planting into all kinds of moisture, is what I'm seeing.
Great.
And it's planting awesome.
Yeah.
I would add probably to what DJ has already, those benefits would be water infiltration. We're hoping to get much more water into our ground and much less running away. This rye cover, I feel, will really hold my nitrogen here for me. So that also will be a big benefit for us. And in our bean ground, we let it go a little longer we get some real great weed suppression, especially the broadleaf weeds. So those are all real pluses and money savers for us. So.
Sure. I was being distracted and looking at some of the vetch and the peas. They're here, but I would say they're we had not a lot of moisture this spring, so they really didn't pop. But
right.
They did persist, and that's, I think, a good sign of success. So.
And you can actually see the nitrogen, how we're actually scavenging its nitrogen, because if you look on our bean fields, that rye is super green. It's just a deep green, a lot taller. Obviously, we probably got it out there a little earlier, but on the corn ground, obviously a lot of that nitrogen's gone, and you're noticing how much nitrogen you're actually pulling up on those bean fields. I mean, it's, you know, you're doing something right.
Sure. And I know one thing, I was out here yesterday just digging in the furrow, checking seed depth, and I was really surprised. You know, every shovelful you'd have 2 or 3 earthworms, you know, and you're only dealing with 6 inches of the row. So that's really encouraging to see all those rototillers doing their thing, making
Right.
you know, culverts for air and water to get in, like you're talking about, the water infiltration. So yeah, so we just, I guess, wanted to give you a little taste of this field location. You know, we're just west of Utica, east of St. Charles here. So I'd encourage you to come out, grab a shovel, grab a neighbor, and come learn a little bit about cover crops and what's working on this location or any of our other tour locations. So thanks for joining us, and have a great day.